The Rock has confirmed huge plans for WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. We're going to tell you exactly what the final boss had to say right here in this video. We're going to talk about what it means, who we could face, what feuds we could see, and so much more. We're also going to get into some interesting news about pitches made by WWE to bring back a classic pay-per-view. All that much more coming up in this video. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. All right, let's talk about it. So, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, otherwise known as The Rock, the final boss, whatever you want to call him the hype man of WWE, because I don't think there's anyone out there who can hype up the product more than The Rock and get people stirring and talking more than The Rock. He did an interview with ESPN where he discussed plans for WrestleMania 41. Here is the interesting note of what he said. He says, quote, "We're on the 1-yard line to create the biggest WrestleMania of all time and the biggest match of all time at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas." I'll just leave it at that. Final boss style. That is, of course, interview he gave with ESPN. What does this mean? What is the match? Why are they hyping this up? What's going on here? Is WrestleMania actually going to be the biggest one in history? A lot of questions. Here are some answers. So, first off, WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, they are trying to build this as a massive show. They do every year. It feels like every year there's some sort of tagline. Last year, biggest WrestleMania in history. Year before that, it was something along the lines of WrestleMania goes Hollywood, even though they already used that. Year before that, the most stupendous WrestleMania of all time. They are always trying, they being WWE, are always trying to hype up WrestleMania to make it as big of a deal as humanly possible. That is their job as promoters. That is their job to make interest, make buzz, and get people to buy tickets. They are always going to do that, and that is always going to be part of this game. Now, how much of this is them hyping this up? How much of this is reality? Well, when you want to talk about first just the biggest match of all time, what could that be? What is he referring to? It's easy to see that Roman Reigns versus The Rock is the match. And I speak as someone who believes that weirdly, the better match to do at this point is probably Cody versus The Rock, because it feels like they built that story more. There is that animosity. There is such vitriol between these two. But at the same time, Roman versus The Rock would absolutely break every WrestleMania record, I think, imaginable. I think gate. I mean, outside of live attendance, they're not going to be able to fit, like, whatever, 80, 90,000 people in there. But outside of that, I think gate, I think spectacle, I think clicks, impressions, every single metric that WWE loves and cares about and talks about, I think this match would break it, because you have Roman Reigns, who proved for 3 years that he is the top dog in WWE, 1,000 days as the world champion in World Wrestling Entertainment, and 1,000 days of dominance where whenever he showed up, wherever he was, it was must-see television. Regardless of how bad the feud was, bad the match was, we were all watching. Because when Roman is on TV, it is big-time news. It feels bigger. Those chills, They go up and down your spine, up and down your arms, because it's different. It hits different. And this guy, this version of The Rock, the final boss, I would argue the best version of The Rock we've ever had, like the one that's coming out in wearing Versace, Hollywood Rock after he's made it, Hollywood Rock with no chip on his shoulder, Hollywood Rock with the world literally on his shoulder, Hollywood Rock, who's coming out, owns basically in kayfabe, he's the boss of everyone. He's like, I own this company. Forget Triple H. I'm on the board. I'm higher than him. This is my company. He even proved that this past year at WrestleMania when he went out there and accosted the referee. So you have two of the biggest stars in the history of this sport, and they will draw. Combine that with the fact that they obviously played it up with the spear this past year at Mania. There's going to be those storytelling elements. There's going to be the tie-in of the bloodline and the family, and these two trying to prove who the bigger or who the final boss, who the tribal chief truly is. As I've said before in previous videos, I think one of the ways you can get there is by doing a bloodline civil war story and have that culminate at WrestleMania between Roman and Rock to prove once and for all who the real final boss is, who the real leader of this family is. Give me the new bloodline, give me the Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Jacob Fatu and company all on one side, and then give me the OG bloodline, Solo, Sammy, the Usos, led by Roman Reigns. Make it the War Games match, make it big, make it spectacle, make it must-watch cinema. That is what they've done with this story so far. That is why I think they will continue to do this. It is going to be a hell of a time between now and Mania. The last point I want to get to, as far as The Rock's comments here, he said that, they are on track to make the biggest WrestleMania of all time. If this is the match, I think it surpasses Cody and Rock as far as box office. I think it surpasses Cody and Rock and Cody and Roman, which is like now the new record holder for largest WrestleMania gate, excuse me. This would just be big. Combine that with the fact it's 2 nights. Combine that with the fact it's in such a prime location in Las Vegas over Easter weekend. Money like this, and on 420, ironically enough. So people are going to be celebrating that night. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there, but it looks like we're getting it. We are probably going to get Rock Roman at WrestleMania, and I can't wait. I want to hear from you guys, though. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below as we move on to our next topic of the day. Let's talk about WWE potentially bringing back a classic pay-per-view. So take a look at this aggregation from WrestlePurist. PW Insider reported, quote, "There have been creative pitches within WWE to bring back the old WWE Bad Blood pay-per-view. The idea would be to use the title this October to tie in the anniversary of the first ever Hell in a Cell bout, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. The plan would be to have a Hell in a Cell bout as part of the October pay-per-view." Interesting stuff. Of course, for those of you who may not be aware, Hell in a Cell, Bad Blood has been held 3 times in the past. There was In Your House Bad Blood in 1997. That was the first ever, or the location of the first ever Hell in a Cell match between Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, now infamous for the debut of Mayor Kane. Now, the other 2 events took place a few years later in 2003, 2004, back-to-back years, and we haven't seen Hell in a Cell since then. And, Hell in a Cell, Bad Blood since then. See what I'm saying here? This is why you don't name pay-per-views after matches, WWE. But I love this idea, I just want to say. The idea of, I understand. I understand why WWE a few years ago decided to make pay-per-view or name pay-per-views after matches, because it is very easy marketing. It is very easy marketing. People know what they're getting. At Hell in a Cell every October, you're getting a few Hell in a Cell matches. At Elimination Chamber, you're getting Elimination Chamber matches. At TLC, you're getting TLC matches. However, even then, you had fans like myself kind of calling that lazy, calling that, like calling a spade a spade. Like, it was just really BS, like marketing campaign. That's what it was. And was it effective? Sure, but it didn't drive forward stories. Because what is the point of a Hell in a Cell match? This destructive, demonic chamber that really only exists to blow off massive feuds. If you're going to have 3 Hell in a Cell matches on a show, if you're going to name, and if it's going to be at a specific time every single year, that is what I don't understand. Because instead of building towards this structure, building towards a culmination of a feud, you're just going to be like, oh yeah, look, it's October and here we go. Hell in a Cell, baby. John Cena versus Kofi Kingston, I don't like anyone. Like, it's not a blood feud. It's not got any stakes to it. It's just Hell in a Cell for the sake of Hell in a Cell. There have been a few times where it has worked out, where they have tried to actually book towards it, and I understand that. But one of the issues you run into when you just force these stipulation matches is it feels forced and it feels less authentic, and it kind of takes you out of it. The whole point of wrestling is to suspend your disbelief. The whole point of this is for me to look at wrestling as a distraction and be immersed in what I am seeing. That was not the case when they were having, what was the other one? Over the Limit, where everything's a submission. Like, I'm so done with these gimmick pay-per-views. Forget gimmick pay-per-views. You want to put gimmicks in there, make them progress the story. WWE at this point is big enough where they don't need to rely on these, second-rate marketing campaigns to try to sell their product. They are Disney as far as wrestling is concerned. They are bigger, better than anything else in that industry. They don't need to clickbait. They can just do it because they're WWE. They're big as they've ever been. So, love this idea. And I think Bad Blood, if you ask me, is a fantastic name for a pay-per-view. Doubt we will see too much blood come back. I think maybe for special occasions, Triple H, obviously has been more open to that than Vince ever was, ever since they went PG back in 2008. But we will see. But overall, I like this. It's not necessarily forcing the Hell in a Cell stipulation, right off the bat. It is making it feel a little bit more like, hey, if we're going to do it, we're going to build a story to it instead of just, it's Bad Blood. You think you're special, John Cena and Randy Orton for the 80th time. No reason to have this match. Anyway, guys, I obviously have a massive problem with stipulation pay-per-views. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. I want to hear from every single one of you. Also, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Until next time, I'm Omer Q for Real Take Wrestling. Be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it real.